So today what I want to talk about, guys, is how I find my basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories that my body burns at rest. And then how, from there, can I find out how many calories I should be eating per day in order to make my goal weight or make the weight for my category. This is what your body is capable of doing without you doing anything. Talking about BMR, there are different calculations for it. The Harris-Benedict and the Miffler method, they're definitely two of the best ones. If you guys go online and just Google BMR calculator, you should be able to enter your height, weight, and age, and then it should be able to help you with the calculation to give you your BMR. Obviously, from there, you're gonna compare your exercise level, and you're gonna have to be honest with yourself as to what that exercise level looks like. Is it 30 minutes of like a lighter cardio 3 times a week, or is it like a rigorous exercise, 5 days a week? Is it like an extreme amount of exercise? Somebody like me who not only is working on their feet all day long or teaching lots of classes, having to demonstrate many different techniques, as well as doing the classes for myself, for my own training. So that is how we have to find our BMR. Once we get that number, from there we can make decisions of how we are going to plan our nutrition. So if our BMR is, let's say, 2,000 calories, let's use this number as an example just because it's easy. So let's say our BMR is 2,000, okay? Maybe I'm a 150-pound female, very, very, very active like myself. So 2,000 calories is my BMR. Now that's gonna be high for a lot of people because there are different variables that come into play. For example, I eat pretty regularly. I eat 5 to 6 meals a day. 4 of those meals are very big and 2 of them are a little bit smaller snacks. And if you guys are on a 900 calorie diet in a day, but your calculation shows that you should be at around 2,000 calories for your BMR. Well, if you've been eating 900 calories a day for the last 8 weeks, that is going to change what your BMR is. And that doesn't mean that it is a forever number. The BMR calculation is not an absolute. So once you guys calculate this, there are so many external factors. If you guys are living somewhere where it's very hot, or for example, it's the summer or it's the winter, when the temperature varies, your BMR can range and change anywhere up to 7% of what it is. So if you are, let's say in Rio where it's 59 degrees right now, because your body's fighting to be in homeostasis in order to keep its temperature, it is going to work a little bit harder, and therefore you might feel like you appear way leaner or with less water retention in the summertime. That's because your BMR is actually a little bit higher. Without changing anything, you always feel better in the summer. Other variables that go into that though are, in the summer you might feel like moving more, you have more vitamin D. So your natural activity level will go up. As opposed to the winter where we're kind of like hermits in Canada. We stay inside and it's cold, don't want to go out. So the amount of moving that you do is less. So BMR can definitely fluctuate based on those things. It can fluctuate based on hormones. The list goes on. Now, how can I change my BMR if I am one of those people who have been in a calorie deficit for a very long time or who have been under eating for a very long time? Well, the good news is again, this is doable to change what your BMR is based on just putting a little bit of effort into building a metabolic capacity or reverse dieting. So all we need to do is we need to establish what or how much we have been eating, or if we're about to start a diet, we're going to find out our basal metabolic rate. So we're going to take these numbers. All right, if we're person A who's been on a diet or person B who's on a 2,000 calorie diet, just finding out their BMR, we're gonna assess what the goals are. If the person that is eating next to nothing decides that they want to lose more weight, well, it's gonna be very hard for you to increase that deficit from 900 calories because you're already in such a deficit that your body is probably fighting you back a little bit. There's not much to take away from. You literally would have to starve in order to take more away. And by starving, I mean sub 1,000 calories is already starving. So the 2,000 calorie diet, let's say this person wants to lose a little bit of weight. So we can create a deficit, and the deficit can be created from exercise and it can be created from nutrition. So if we start to tailor a nutrition plan for this person, we could look at giving them 1,800 calories per day and adding let's say they're very active already. So that 200 calories per day in a deficit should already aid in helping them lose a little bit of weight. Now, how aggressive you go about it, you can obviously increase the amount of calories. For me, I prefer to be fed and perform better. So the 200 calories is great. And if I decide I want to increase a little bit of cardio, I could add maybe 20 minutes of cardio a couple times a week in order to increase the amount of calories that I burn. Again, I really do prefer to eat enough because I'm already performing quite a bit. So I find I have a better response when I just take a few calories away. So that 200 is great. And then, not really adding more exercise. My day's already very strenuous. So just have to get a little bit more concise and present in my training. So the more present I can be in the training, the more effort I can put into those sessions rather than add more sessions. Now, if we look at this 900 calorie person who's eating, 1,100 calories less than the person who would have the same BMR as them if they weren't on this diet. Building a metabolic capacity or increasing the calories that you eat during the day, that's going to take time over a few weeks. So let's say the person eating 900 calories a day, they've been working very, very, very hard, almost over exercising. We can start by taking that 900 calories and turning it to, let's say, 1,100 calories. So let's add 200 calories in the 1 week. Those calories generally are going to come from carbs and fats. Protein would remain mostly consistent if it's at the right rate already. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but we're going to start building that metabolic capacity. So once we start to add those foods back in, after a week, the body might be able to regulate that extra 200 calories. Maybe it'll start to lose weight again. And that's where that plateau is broken now. And now we're making progress again. So after that 1 week, if the 200 calories is sufficient, everything is going according to plan, we might look at adding an extra 50 to 100 calories. How aggressive we go depends on the body's response, obviously, but as we get higher and higher in caloric intake, the amount that we increase per week is going to decrease. So you might only be adding, 18 calories per week, and that's like 2 grams of fat. But that's after, let's say, 1 year of being in this reverse diet or building metabolic capacity. So the person eating 900 calories, after 4 weeks, let's say we add 100 calories a week, they're already up to 1,300 calories a day. They have more energy to put into their training. They probably feel way better. Hormones are probably a little bit better. And, week to week, just making positive changes and not starving. So I think that it's really important that we go through both of these phases where we're, number one, identifying what our BMR is. Number two, deciding what our goal is if we do want to lose the weight. We're not being too aggressive and we're starting at somewhere where our body can actually make adaptations, whether that's to lose weight or to maintain. And then from our reverse dieting standpoint, where the person is adding more calories, we want to see them add more calories and maintain weight, or add more calories and actually start to lose weight because, again, things are starting to work better. So now with BMR, how do we calculate how many calories come from protein, carbs, and fats? So I feel like this is a formula that's really based on the individual. A lot of trial and error goes into this. I find that I work really well with like a higher amount of carbohydrates as long as they come from whole foods and a moderate amount of fats. As for protein, I like to take my protein, I use a 1.2 times lean body mass calculation for myself. Okay, so let's say my lean body mass is 130 pounds and the extra 15 pounds I have right now is like fat mass, okay? So we're gonna go 130 times 1.2. And if that brings us to around 155, 160 grams of protein, that's perfect. So every gram of protein is 4 calories. So we're gonna go 160 times 4, which is gonna give us 640 calories. So from the 640 calories, you can already see like, wow, if I only ate protein, I'm almost at par with that person who's eating 900 calories. So carbohydrates are a little bit different. Carbohydrates, you can go anywhere from 1 to 4 grams. You can even go higher than that, but I would say 1 to 4 grams where your body can actually use it and not just store it as glycogen and then eventually store it later as fat. I would say somewhere between 1 to 4 grams, again, depending on your body. I like to use around 2 grams, sometimes somewhere between 1.5 to 1.7 if I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious, getting ready for a competition and needing to maintain my weight, what it is, or lose maybe 2 pounds. So let's say I'm gonna use the 1.2 calculation because I wanna lose some weight. That's gonna put us at almost 1,300 calories. So we just talked about metabolic optimization or reverse dieting and bringing that 900 calorie person up to 1,300 calories. So just by giving them a nice balanced diet, by giving them 1.2 grams of carbs and 1.2 grams of protein, that's just putting them there, and that's excluding fats. So we haven't even touched fats yet. So once we get here, so we're at 1,300 calories and now we have 700 calories left. So fats, different than proteins and carbs. I missed to tell you guys, carbs are 4 calories per gram. But fats are different. Fats are denser, so they are 9 calories per gram. So they weigh a little bit more overall, so you're gonna have less of those. So if you have 700 calories, then we're gonna divide that by 9, and that's gonna kind of give you the number of grams of fat that you would want to take in. Now, this 2,000 calorie person is going to be in a 200 calorie deficit. So now if we're at 1,300 calories, we are taking an extra 500 in to get to 1,800. So now we have 500 calories coming from fats. So let's do that quick math here. So we've got 500 divided by 9, and that brings us to 55.5 grams. So that's how many grams of fat they'd want to take in the day. Now, if we look over here at the metabolic optimization person, how can we help them if they're already eating like not enough? They're eating trace fats. Maybe they're eating 20 grams of fat that's just coming from their food. So 20 times 9, 180 calories. So let's go 180 calories plus, let's say there's 640 calories from the protein. That brings us to 820. So that only leaves them 80 calories for carbs if they're at 800 grams. So 80 calories divided by 4, they're only eating 20 grams of carbs. That's pretty much in ketosis, and that is sad. That is a sad life. I would not want to live that life. So how can we help them build that metabolic capacity? So let's start with the protein, okay? So let's keep the protein as it is, and then we have our 900 calories, okay? So 900 minus 640 is 260. And let's say we're gonna add 200 calories for the first week to help build their metabolic capacity. So we're at 460 calories, okay? So let's say we wanna have equal amounts of carbs to fats and calories. So that's gonna bring us to 230 calories. Let's divide that by 4, and that's gonna bring us to 57.5 grams of carbs, okay? So we got 230 calories, and we're gonna divide that by 9, and that's gonna bring us to 25.5 grams of fat. So this is kind of where we can start our baseline to slowly build up that capacity. And the reason we're doing this is because if we throw ourselves back into the surplus or back to what we consider our regular BMR, our bodies are not going to respond the same. You might gain a little bit of weight that we don't want, although that's fine. Some people are not gonna be okay with that. Some people are gonna feel like they have metabolic damage, or they're gonna feel like they have overtraining syndrome, or have binge eating issues. So the best way to handle this, I feel, is to help somebody who might be a little bit of a control freak over their nutrition slowly build that back up. And then once you get to a point where you can eat a ton, you forget why you did that 900 calorie diet in the first place. So knowing what your BMR is to start setting yourself up for success, I think is one of the most important tools that you can have. Again, you can just go straight to Google, you can type in BMR calculator, and there's gonna be different methods that pop up. So right here I have calculator.net/BMR calculator, and right here it pops up with I can write down my age. Obviously, I am not 25. I could lie to you guys. I am not. I can type in that. My height and my weight. I can also use US units if I only know my weight. by like feet and inches, and so on. Okay, so once you decide to calculate that, it's gonna pop up a number here. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. So we're gonna go 32, I'm a female, I'm 5'2", and right now I'm 145 pounds. So let's go here. It gives me my BMR calculation, and as I scroll down, it gives me all the different calculations that I can use for the different formulas here. But very intense daily exercise here, it says 2,500 calories. Intense exercise 6 to 7 days a week, or 6 to 7 times a week, my bad. 2,200 calories. Daily exercise or intense exercise, 3 to 4 times a week. 2,000. Exercise 4 to 5 times a week. 1,900. Exercise 1 to 3 times a week. 1,800. Sedentary, little to no exercise. That's already at 1,585. So 1,585 calories for somebody who does absolutely nothing. Imagine being that 900 calorie person. Guys, you can build your metabolic capacity, you can reverse diet your way into eating so much food, still making weight for your division. You just have to be a little bit smarter about it and get a little bit more educated on what tools you can use to help you get there. So hopefully this long-winded explanation of what BMR is and how we can build that capacity, or how we can accurately cut calories out so we can hit our goals, will help you guys out. See you next time. We'll talk a little bit more. Bye.